Hello and welcome back. Let's take a look at how Tailwind solves element positioning. To position an element, you have to first make the parent container relative, and then the element you want to position will have an absolute position. This is standard CSS practice. So let's start with a relative div with a BG red of 200, and I'm going to give it a size of 28 and also a margin 4, so that the things I'm going to do will be inside the div. The first example I'm going to do will have a div with an absolute positioning and a BG red of 500. I'm going to give it a padding of 2 and a text of white. And then I'm also going to give it a size of 10. And I'll call this top left. By default, when you create an absolute position, it stays at the top left. This is text white. You can add the top left, but it won't change anything. You say top 0 and left 0. As you can see here, the options you have is top, bottom, left, and right. So we are putting this div at the top left. Let's also create a bottom left div and just change the top to bottom, and that moves to bottom left. We can also have a top right absolute positioning, so I will just change this to top and then this to right, and then that moves to the top right. And lastly, we can have a bottom right position. So I'm just going to change this to bottom right. And you see how these are placed inside the parent div. We can also specify the top, bottom, left, and right position to fill the whole space. Let's do that here. We have a container, and then underneath it, we're going to specify top to be 0, left to be 0, bottom to be 0, and the right also 0. And you'll see it fills the whole container. If you change this 0 to 1, it will give 0.25 rem spacing for the top, bottom, right, and left of the absolute positioning. You can use the insert class to do this. The insert utility class allows you to specify all or some of the side at once, and it has this sides. You can say insert X and any of these numbers to specify the horizontal position, and insert Y to specify vertical position, and just insert to specify all around position, the left, right, top, bottom position. I'm going to use this example. This is just a plain div. Instead of using top, left, bottom, right, I can just say insert 1, and this does the same thing like what this does. Insert 1 will specify 0.1 rem for the top, left, right, and bottom position. You can also specify for the left and right position, which is X position. You will say insert X, and then you state the number of rems. If you say insert X 0, it's just going to go vertically across the page. And if you say insert X 2, it's going to create an 0.5 rem left and right for you between the elements. You will notice that this stays at the horizontal position, but also at the top. You can create another one that stays at the bottom. All you need to do is to specify the bottom position in here. We can say bottom 0, and you see it stays at bottom 0. If you say bottom 2, it stays a little bit higher at the bottom. We can also have a vertical element by putting insert Y instead of insert X to put the element in a vertical position. So insert Y 0, we put these elements here. You will see that by default it stays at the left side. If you want it to go to the right side, all you do is you just specify right 0 or whatever right position you want it to be. Let's say right 2. It goes a little bit back. You can also specify negative insert. So let's say insert 3. You'll see it inserts the element by 3. If you want to make it a negative insert, just put a minus sign here at the back, and then you see it goes over the parent element. Let's do some animation with this. I'm just going to copy this and put it here, and then instead of doing -3, I'm going to say the first one should not be negative, so it stays inside, but on over, it should then go on a negative insert 2. If I put my mouse over it, you see it covers the page, but you're not going to see it very well. So let's put a duration of 500. I want it to be smooth, or rather, let me make it on over. Also, let's put an opacity of 50, so that when you put your mouse over it, it becomes faded, so that you can see what is underneath. So let's put our mouse over it. You can see this slides to a negative insert, and you can see the original parent underneath it. This video is part of my course on Udemy titled Mastering Tailwind CSS with Project Example. Currently, we have 18 project examples that you can use, so go to the link in the description below for our sales coupon to access the course.